We're back. Finally, it's here. Season 2 of The Digest Show, brought to you by Black Rectangle Collective. Josh and I are so happy to be back with you, and we have got a new modern classic to start the season. We got Fincher, we got Sorkin, we got Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, we got Jesse Eisenberg, we got frickin' Justin Timberlake, and for our first foray into celebrity controversy, we have Flesh Eating Army Hammer on today's program. So, without further ado, I give you Season 2 premiere of The Digest Show. Hit it! Joshua, welcome to Season 2!
Yeah, baby!
How pumped are you?
Oh, I'm fucking here for it, son. Let's do this.
And I feel like the film we chose to kick off Season 2 of The Digest Show kind of fell into our laps, and it's a perfect conversation piece. Before we get started, sorry, this is kind of personal, but I just want to make sure about some stuff. Did you get my Farmville request the other day?
I didn't, because I don't use Facebook.
Oh, so you didn't get my Candy Crush new high score?
No, I didn't.
Didn't happen to catch my passive aggressive, hyper dramatic political post geared towards my extended family?
I didn't see that.
But did you see the status I changed? It started with an ellipsis, insert Taking Back Sunday lyric, and with an ellipsis. Status change.
I didn't see that either.
All of these are vignettes from my past. I am no longer a Facebook user either. But on the season premiere of The Digest Show, Season 2, we are diving in to quite possibly the most important film of the 2010s, The Social Network, directed by David Fincher, written by Aaron Sorkin, scored by fucking Nine Inch Nails of Atticus Ross. Boom.
Boom. Boom.
We got a great cast we're going to get into. We have historical relevancy. This is a wide swatch. This is a breath. We're going for it.
Yeah, we took a big bite. And I think we're going to chew it down.
Let's digest it.
Oh.
So, per tradition, let's start Season 2 off on our first film off with a back of the box. But on this one, it's a little augmented because I joined Josh on the special features train. Ooh. And I couldn't help myself but purchase the special edition Blu-ray edition of The Social Network, released in 2010. And a little surprise for the back of the box segment, it's the front of the box, y'all. And it is to the point. And it's simple. A lot of the times we do back of the box, we like it because it's austere. It's a video store reference. It reminds us of standing there in the video store and getting a synopsis of a film. This one is the front of the box, and it's about 12 words. Don't mind if I do?
Take it away.
You don't get to 500 million friends without making a few enemies.
Bam! This movie is about Facebook, folks.
This movie is a story about ambition, about rise and fall, about historical context. It's about friendship. It's about the technology. It's about how we communicate as people.
It's about ego.
It's a commentary on modern times.
Yes.
What do you remember the first time you heard about this movie, saw the trailer? What's your take me there, please?
Yeah, I had one of those late night revelations, like no shit, this came to me like as I was trying to go to sleep last night, and I remembered where I first saw this movie. And it's so cool. It's like so perfect for this film. And I realized also that this film is one of the films that really started like opening me up to like politics and all kinds of things, because I went to college right out of high school after I graduated in 2008, and then I went to a university starting in January of 2011. And the first week that I went to that campus, there was this crazy fucking snowstorm, and the whole campus was practically like closed.
I was there.
The student union was playing the last movie they had from the previous year, and they were playing it for free to anybody who was stuck on campus. And it was the Social Network. It was the fucking Social Network.
That's cool.
And me and my roommate went to go see it.
I remember that week.
Yeah, right. I know you would.
I went to go see Harry Potter.
Hey, it's worth it. It's worth
That's
it.
cool though. That's a cool memory.
It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean,
remember. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
well, I mean, it's just the college. You're out. You're
It's
in
perfect.
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. Yours trumps mine. I just remember. So I graduated a year after you. You're a year older than me. I remember around the same time. So the first episode of season 1, we did a film that was really important to us. There Will Be Blood, where we first started getting into sophisticated stuff and like film and appreciating things. And I remember seeing the trailer for The Social Network. I remember seeing the poster at the theater. I don't remember what I was
Yeah.
seeing, but I remember thinking wasn't super familiar with David Fincher's work, and now and the dogs are barking.
Uh-oh.
Now looking back on it, it's such a Fincher-esque, clean-cut, modern-looking poster, and I remember it catching my eye and thinking, "Huh, I'm already over Facebook, but I know that it's a story that is relevant to my generation and people my age."
Yep.
And it was this young actor on the cover of it, and I think it says on the poster I saw, I remember it says on the actual booklet for the special features, it says punk, prophet, genius, billionaire, trader. I believe that's the poster I saw, and I just remember thinking like, I'm interested in something that serious now, and I just graduated high school. Facebook was a part of my life, but at that time, even that young, I was kind of having second thoughts about Facebook. Even in 2010, people were starting to like hold a fist to the air and start deleting their Facebook and shit. And so I remember, but also thinking that's gonna be a cool story.
Yeah, I
wanted
mean,
to-
I
yeah.
was one of those people with their fists in the air, like, and basically for me, what I realized, and I like rewatching the movie, I realized that to steal from Rooney Mara's like poignant performance, I realized Facebook was written in ink, and I thought it was written in pencil. You know, like I thought
Yeah.
when I turned 22 or 23, if I wanted to, I could just delete the shit and it would go away, but that's not the truth. And so about the age 20, 21, I just kind of stopped using it. And then about a year after this movie came out, I deleted it for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
uh, but I wanted to say, like, I think that you pointing out that poster, it's something I remember too, the marketing campaign. And I remember thinking that the movie was going to be like a Mark Zuckerberg glorification picture,
Sure.
and the reason I think this movie stands up is because it's not. It's not a Zuckerberg puff piece, and it's also not a like Zuckerberg hate piece either. It somehow does this neutral thing, but it shows you how much of an asshole, but also how much of a dedicated genius in ways. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
it's I don't know. It stands the test of time, I think.
I think Fincher's filmmaking, I think the score and how modern that is, it lends itself to aging, but the film, the relevancy in which it's aged is so powerful because the story is still unfolding. So even in the last like 2 or 3 years, the story on Facebook has changed.
Oh yeah.
It's completely different than what it was 10 years ago, which by the way, this movie came out 10 years ago.
Which is fucking nuts.
And
God.
it obviously looks very modern and like it could have come out today and everything.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to get into the filmmaking portion of it that makes this film have a lot of legs. But I think the reason story-wise that it holds up is because, again, that story is still changing. And, we may have wanted to delete Facebook. I might have wanted to delete it because I might be a natural contrarian, which is well documented on this show. But I also loved Facebook in high school. And I loved messaging people and sharing stuff about my band and posting what I thought maybe mysteriously cool artsy dude statuses. And then I moved in. Oh yeah. And then I moved into like this other phase of it where I was like, this is dumb. At its essence, Facebook was a good thing, sharing community. And maybe we're going to get to the origins of it. Was that even really the point of it? But in any case, the story is still changing. Like Facebook was on CNN being grilled by senators and shit. Did they share people's data? Yeah. It's a long lasting effect.
Did they sway an election? I mean, Like,
Yeah.
not believe or not believe, whatever, you go do your own research, but seriously, like, just the fact that that's in Congress and they're there because they potentially had an effect on an election. That's incredible. And that's
From a dorm room window.
not even a 20-year-old company. Not even a 20-year-old company. This is insane. This speed.
From a dorm room window to like the Senate floor. And I think this film of the past 20 years it has to be on like, I'm going as high as conclusive as top 5, how important the story is. And there are nuances to it that may or may not be super historically accurate. And that's something we just have to accept as film viewers. But the essence of the story and the entrepreneurship and the battle they're having with sincerity and Sean Parker and what that means, and money and who the big players are, it is kind of a quintessential 2000 to 2020 story. And I think it will be a film that we show people to let them understand the kind of questions as a generation and before and after, give or take a few years, that we will tell people what we've been asking ourselves during that period. It kind of sums it up in a beautiful way.
Yeah, and I think that in 2010 that this movie is ahead of itself in realizing that it could focus on the simple vanity that led to the origin, the vanity that led to it catching fire and leads to it sustaining itself with what I looked at 2.8 billion users.
There are these benchmarks. The front of the DVD says 500 million people, but even in the beginning of the origin story, I think it's is it like 20,000 hits or something arbitrary like that he corrects Rashida Jones' character. Several people are corrected like in one night of a college community. Like, it happens so goddamn fast. Like,
Yeah,
so beyond people's comprehension. Even
Mhm.
after the fact, in litigation and in depositions, like, oh, did you mean a few zeros less than that? In retrospect, analyzing the situation, like, that must be wrong. It's like, no, this happened that fast. And I think that speaks to the fact that there was a need for something like that because the world was changing so quickly. And this dude had the foresight to capitalize on an idea. Whether or not it was his entirety originality, I think we should talk about. But
yeah, at the end,
it's just fascinating.
Sure. I mean, do you want to talk about that really quick while we're still talking about like things that are, kind of outside of the film, if you will, just ideas?
Sure.
Yeah.
What you got?
I mean, so I think one thing that you just said is something that the world needed, but I agree completely. But I also think that, there's the idea of, did he steal this idea from the Winklevi, as he likes to pronounce it, it's like, yeah, sure, you did, just the same way as they stole their idea from MySpace or whoever. Like,
honestly, fuck them.
Yeah,
fuck.
I mean, I agree. I completely agree. They don't deserve that settlement. Like, again, like he says it was an apt metaphor. Everybody who makes a chair doesn't owe everybody who ever made a fucking chair like royalties after that. Like, but
also, oh, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, but like, it's funny nowadays how Facebook wants to not be that. They want to be like a publisher so that they can say what they can and can't do. Because if they became like an idea, like a utility, like electricity, like, it would be tough for them. But yeah, I mean, I think that the one thing that I wanted to get to is, for me, is I went back and forth on this, but the thing that really gets me is where I really do think that he actually did kind of rip them off, is he mocked them for wanting to do a dating site, right? But then it's the realization of the relationship status in the computer lab that makes him finish Facebook. And when he's explaining it after all the cake and watermelon, he knows that everybody is going to flock to Facebook because they're fucking lonely. And they're looking to get with someone else or find out if they can know more and chase that intimacy, that curiosity of people. And he knows that, and he like capitalized on it. And I think So that was the thing that kind of brought me over to the side where I think he did rip them off. Did they deserve to win money from him? No, fucking no. But
my thought on it is like these. First of all, can I do a little personal segue?
yeah.
So as film lovers and best friends, Josh and I, our colloquial back and forth, our vernacular, like our inside jokes are pretty much like 50% music related and 50% film related. And they're all great. But one of my favorites, whenever someone has to take a piss, Josh says, gotta go visit the Tinklevoss twins. And it's from this movie, and I love it. I think there's a right, it's true. I think there's a great quote when I think you get frustrated with the Winklevoss twins, or however the fuck you pronounce their name. But Zuckerberg has that quote. He says, "This is the first time in their entire lives
Yes.
that it hasn't gone exactly how they wanted." And if you take a step back and look at it, like they see themselves as businessmen and like an inherently expert businessmen, and they just got they're playing the intellectual property card.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah.
Like you had an informal meeting with someone over like a sandwich in the foyer of a secret club, and like they got played. And the fact that, yeah.
No, continue.
No, I'm just saying, like, the fact that I think that there was a settlement outside of court. It probably was like a fingernail's worth of money to Mark Zuckerberg. I think it was like
65 million is what the movie quotes.
Like, take it. Cool. Yeah. Like, fuck them.
Oh, that literally is that's nothing. That's a tip if Mark Zuckerberg wanted it to be. But
about it.
I just think that yeah, you're trying to pull this intellectual property thing. It's like, again, all you did was fucking remember MySpace. All they did was take MySpace and make it where you have to have a harvard.edu email address to basically to do this, and we're going to clean it up a little bit and make it like a little bit more friendly, right? That's all they fucking did. They took somebody else's shit and moved off of that, and he took their shit and said, you guys are being stupid, I'm going to do it this way. And fuck you. You did. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think to kind of wrap this train of thought up, it's like they were thinking small potatoes in Harvard, and Mark Zuckerberg was immediately thinking worldwide enterprise. He at least saw the it didn't have to just be Harvard. No, I agree with that. 100%. 100% agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad we did a little kind of background cultural, relevance to like what this film really means to social media and like what kind of the goals were here. Should we move on to this week's director?
Ooh. Dude. Oh. Yeah. Top dog, dude. This is a top fiver for me. Easy.
David Fincher.
David fucking Fincher. Okay.
I'm so glad I joined you on the special features train for this week's episode.
This is a good one to get some special features in. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. So David Fincher, he has a really interesting career arc. In the late 80s, the majority of the 90s, David Fincher is making commercials and music videos. That's what he's known for. And like that minute, short form thing, I think lends itself to his kind of what we have with him now with things like Zodiac and Gone Girl and films that are like modern classics. Seven, obviously his like first, mainstream hit. Mm-hmm. But for me, like David Fincher is like the consummate modern filmmaker, not just in aesthetic, but in the way he captures stories. And I'm so excited for us to dig into one of his films because we haven't yet, and I hope we get to do more of it. He just has so many signature facets to his filmmaking that are really easy to point out, so it makes for good conversation, right? What are your off the bat? What do you love about Fincher? What are your thoughts?
First, I think it's cool that we are opening our second season with another one of the directors that we would both be able to put on our Rushmore +1 easy. You know what I mean? And I think that he's so different than some of the other filmmakers that we really like because he does, most of the people that we're really into shoot on film and it's like this whole thing.
He's a
But
modern filmmaker.
he absolutely is. He wants, you can tell that he's trying to make a modern film. And a lot of times when you make modern films, you have they don't hold up. Like I think of movies from like the 80s and 90s. I don't know, like something like Total Recall pops into mind. Like again, it not holding that up into like any level or whatever. And then like a couple of David Cronenberg, who is great, but a couple of his films again kind of trying to be modern and they don't hold up, but the way he does it is so fucking good because he uses like traditional cinematic formats, but he has this way of like clipping stuff and making a story move, like really, really move, where you feel like you kind of hopped on, I think of the Hunter S. Thompson ticket, quote, buy the ticket, take the ride. Like you're like, you sign up for it, you put in a David Fincher movie and you're going to go somewhere. It's going to be a fucking ride. You know what I mean?
I think that he has this inherent interest in darkness and almost normalizing it or making it palatable for the audience so that it's not like, it's not uncomfortable, but it's like, it's worth exploring. Like even when I watch something like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo or something like that movie's like super dark and everything, but it's like it's an experience that isn't too uncomfortable. Like I said, he just has a good way of normalizing modern palette, like darkness and dark themes and questions of existential stuff. I don't like Zodiac is another great one of my favorite rainy day movies of all time. My thing on the show is the matinee, right? Zodiac,
Mm-hmm.
Mount Rushmore of matinee movies.
Fuck yes.
So good.
Quite possibly a future ep, like 100% quite possibly a future ep.
So good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the signature Fincher things. We got, for me and for us that we talked about before, the tone, color, and palette. There's this steely fucking car commercially thing going on with a lot of Fincher's films, and especially in this one. It's modern. We're gonna keep saying that word on today's episode.
Yeah, I think of, again, there's so many, weirdly, this film I'm pulling a lot of parallels to other films that we've done before. But no, I think what he does is the saturation is pulled out.
Yeah, you can talk more to that.
Well,
than I can. Please,
yeah, I mean, it's just
have your time.
I mean, no, the color is it's simple. The color saturation is just pulled out just like a little bit. Like you still get plenty of warmth, you still get plenty of color, but it's just the saturation's pulled back a little bit, and it makes everything feel like a little unsettling, but not in a bad way, almost like in an exciting way, like a new car kind of a vibe. And I think I harken back to when we did Network, and in the special features they talked about how at the end of the movie, the production quality, it was lit like a Ford commercial. And you say these car commercials, it makes sense because he lights these things in this tone that make you that feels really like it draws you in a way. I don't know, it makes you kind of want to be there, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with House of Cards. You get that opening.
I just went to the House of Cards page. That's crazy you said that. Yeah.
And that's the vibe that you get, is like you kind of you feel like you almost missed out on not being there.
Do you know what it is? And it's kind of, I'll find it. We're gonna do a Fincher Sorkin parallel, but for me, I think you know what it is. It's a cooler version of what you remember.
Yeah,
of what you've been a part of.
Yeah.
And so it's like, fuck, if I could have been there at Harvard at the beginning of Facebook, I would have talked that fast and that cool. And like, I would have looked that dope in a Gap sweatshirt, and I wouldn't have, like, when I fucked up with that girl, it would have been so graceful. It makes memories much sexier than they actually are.
I fucking love the way you put that. Yep. I'm into it. It's like a sexy dream of the past.
And it is kind of dreamlike.
Yeah, it is kind of dreamlike too. Yes, absolutely.
You touched on the pacing too. Again, it just has this. His films just have a motor, and you're just kind of like latched on to the side and you're immersed in this, as we've established now, which I really love and excited about. It's a sexy kind of dream world of what you would have experienced in the scenario that the film is in. And the pacing is I wouldn't like characterize it as like exceptionally fast or anything, but it's deliberate and it's true to the story. It's very, he just has a signature pace. It's just you're along for the ride, like you said.
Yeah, and he a good example of this, the whole thing is the opening sequence after like after he's talking with Rooney Mara's character. Okay, so then he's in his dorm room, starting when he opens the beer and you get the first timestamp, right? That face smash sequence, if you will, is what I'll call it, is a perfect example of what I mean when I say the pacing at a Fincher film. He can make you feel like you're in that like all coffee, like getting shit done, shit's fucking moving, and it's going. He'll elapse through eventually. What is it? Almost 6, 8, 9 hours in that one montage, and it's popping, and you hear the keyboards clicking, and it's just, again, it moves so fast. And the best example quickly is that this fucking movie is 2 hours long, and it feels like it's a goddamn episode of like a TV show. 45, like, I
It's
swear
very
to God,
fast.
45 minutes in, I'm like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy.
There's another big reason for that, which we'll get to next.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
But I want you wanted to touch on kind of the edge of technology part of David Fincher as a filmmaker, that he's always kind of reaching towards that modern stuff. He shoots in digital. You kind of referenced the fact that a lot of filmmakers that we love, 21st century filmmakers that we love, they're about the preserving the past and classic stuff.
Fucking Cool
and like
Kids Committee. Yeah.
we fucking like it. David Fincher's like, fuck you. I want
Yeah.
this to look cool and good and like it was made in 2009. So maybe you can touch a little bit on that.
Well, I mean, it was really, first off, just to say, any of you like film buffs, which if you're listening to this, clearly you are, if you like this movie, fucking buy this particular edition and get in on these special features, because these things are awesome. And it was just really cool to learn that, because we were talking about how Fincher feels so modern, right? But like, not only does his film come off that way, but the means he uses to capture his movies are also, he's always trying to like have the best, newest thing that works. And like, example, the camera that they used for this, like the processor was like brand new. It just came off the line, and they had to do all these color tests and all these different tests with the cameras before they could even shoot the film. And but the thing is, shooting digital, that you get, unlike shooting film, when you shoot film, you have a limited amount of film. You can't just say, I've got a 10-minute sequence and I'm gonna fucking film this 500 times if I fucking need to. Yeah, if you want to go bankrupt and go over budget. But if you're running on a digital camera, that shit just saves as a file to a hard drive. And you can go through as much and as many, and you can stop it, and you can go, and you can do whatever the fuck you want. And you can yell out to your fucking assistant director, flag that one, that was a good one. And it's just marked in a hard drive somewhere. And it makes it like, the actors in the special feature said that it made it feel like a stage play atmosphere, because they didn't feel like they were, hey, what if I fuck up the first take? Like, I'm getting 30. I'm getting 30 takes of this.
Well, let's touch on the fact that in the special features in the opening scene, they literally do 99 takes.
99 takes.
99. And there's just a joke that they didn't do 100. Also, the assistant director is very visible and active on the special features. That dude's working his ass off.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's cool, and I think it's something you don't think about, because it's really easy to kind of like fall in love with a certain kind of filmmaker and be like, oh yeah, I want to be a film snob. But at the same time, like, there are perks to doing it this way. And, you could make a case that you should just rehearse, but as a filmmaker, because these guys, like, when you say technicality, like, these guys were getting down to where on an audio track, they are taking a syllable of a word and splicing it in to an audio track to get the right emphasis. And they are taking a split screen of a fucking take to get one actor performing at their best and the other actor performing at their best. It's the number of layers and edits and what they're doing. It's insane to me. And you can tell there's a reason this movie is so fucking flawless. Like, there's a reason.
It might be perfect.
It could fucking be perfect. Like, it really could.
I think this is a perfect segue into this week's screenwriter.
Your boy Chase is a mega
You don't have to study. You don't have to study. Let's just talk.
Aaron Sorkin.
Why?
Because it is exhausting. Dating you is like dating a stairmaster.
All I meant is that you're not likely to. Currently. I wasn't making a comment on your parents. I was just saying that you go to BU. I was stating a fact. That's all. And if it seemed rude, then of course I
I
apologize.
have to go study.
You don't have to study.
Why do you keep saying I don't have to
When
study?
was
go to
the
BU.
vote that made you president of the Aaron Sorkin fan club? What year was that?
2005, West Wing.
When you discovered West Wing?
Yes, I mean,
Yeah. Maybe discovered's a weird word to use there.
I think that it's really important. I'm glad that we brought up when we talked about Fincher's filmmaking that it's a sexy dream. And the
Yeah.
reason that I love Aaron Sorkin's work, A Few Good Men isn't my favorite film of all time. Moneyball might be one of my favorite films of all time. The West Wing is
Ooh.
unequivocally my favorite television program of all time.
Oh
But
shit, okay.
But his voice, it's how I wish I'd spoke. Like super hyper intelligent, articulate, also sexy, cool.
Latent
really
with
fat.
historical references.
That you know me best, and like some musical references too, like some
Yeah.
old Hollywood references,
Yeah.
just like laden with references. Really fast, never missing a beat. He writes the way I wish I spoke in my wildest dreams.
Sure.
And that's why I am a big Sorkin fan. I also very much understand the problems with Sorkin and enjoy talking about them as a fan. But as we just kind of highlighted some of his biggest highlights of his career, the thing that makes him his calling card, his signature is the pace. It's so fucking fast. This wasn't in the special features that I got to, but over the years being a fan of this film, I've read that Rooney Mara and Jesse Eisenberg read the screenplay in a certain amount of time. I think it was like 26 pages or something arbitrary like that. And Aaron Sorkin was just like, cool, great job. You have to do that in literally half the time that you just did it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reason it's so popular and the reason it's cool is because everyone wishes they were that fucking smart and that their synapses were firing that fast.
Yes, and we have an example of like the speed and quickness, especially of the Rooney Mara and Jesse Eisenberg, right? So, bam.
Yeah. But to zero back on Sorkin, like it's also the minutia of what we're listening to, and every single word is slaved over. I love seeing Fincher and Sorkin work on that because as an Aaron Sorkin disciple, like I know that that's true. I know that he slaves over every single word, and when I watch something that he's written, I know that every word, just like any novel you read or any other great writer, every word is slaved over. But it's so crazy to be met with a director of the same sort of focus and value. It's pretty astonishing. I think a big part of Sorkin's influence on this film is political. Let's get real. He's like a left-wing darling, mouthpiece, if you will. And this movie is wrought with irony in retrospect. Because the left-wing faction of America hates this fucking movie if they understand what they're trying to say. But Aaron Sorkin is really capitalizing, excuse my language, on the freedom of thought, on the freedom of one man's ambition. And it's interesting how, like I said, Aaron Sorkin, like, let's get real, he's NBC's poster boy, he's a left-wing mouthpiece. I think it ages so interestingly, not bad or poorly, but just so interestingly. It's such a good conversation to have.
Yeah, I mean,
Did I
look,
go on too long? I'm sorry.
no, you didn't. I mean, compared to an Aaron Sorkin conversation, that was pretty quick.
Oh,
No, listen. I'll get it out. I do love Aaron Sorkin. I do enjoy the vast majority of his work. It's just that sometimes it's like I've never done Speed, but sometimes I feel like I might need to in order to be able to like fucking keep up. Like it is moving fast, and I'm a Southern boy. I talk slow, so sometimes like I have trouble keeping up. But I think this movie, the pace of it is fast, but it's like a good game. Like the back and forth between characters. There's a lot, and you get breaks. Like you get like reprieve. Now it's wall to wall dialogue or score through the whole fucking picture. But no, I think you got a lot of points, and I think he finds himself. I think politics is a good way to write about things that are emotional and to also try to like, I don't know, do something that you think might make a difference, if you will, right? Like it's something that gives merit, and he finds himself in these situations like, like this film framing this story through depositions, right? And having like cut through the depositions to flashbacks and then back to depositions, and then having the audio of the depositions like narrate like chunks of the memories that we're watching. Like he puts himself in situations to give his characters the most, right? I think that's
I like
what
that.
I'm getting at. Yeah.
Again,
Aaron fucking Sorkin.
We kind of touched on how it's a fucking amazing marriage, this director and this writer. It's really a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Also, the cast contributes to the fact that this is kind of a cosmic moment in 21st century Hollywood. It's a cosmic picture.
Yeah, dude, it's the right time, right cast, right subject matter. Like 100%. Like Facebook was becoming such a thing, such a like a global thing, and it was so many people loved it. So many people were using it. Then so many people were also at this time realizing that people were getting addicted to it and that there were downsides to it. So you were pulling interest from so many different people, right? And like I said, it's not that puff piece or that hate piece. So it's pulling so many different people in to hear this origin story of Facebook, because it's really what this is.
Yeah, I think that to sum up the Fincher Sorkin thing is that this is a modern story about like hyper intelligent people addressing like a global problem, and I couldn't think of a better pairing of a writer and director to tackle that issue. And again, to kind of get more into the details of it, this cast is perfect. Like could you imagine anyone else other than Jesse Eisenberg playing this role?
Well, no, and that's why I used that word like cosmic before, because it's just you get Eisenberg, you get Garfield, you get Hammer, you get just you get Timberlake, you get Rooney Mara and her part, you get all of these people in these roles, and it's just like once in a generation do you get a group of actors that are the right age. Nobody's reaching, everybody feels natural. They're all, and it's a story that's about characters that are old enough and smart enough I don't know. You get where I'm coming from? Like it.
Yeah, like if any of these performers were like a year or two younger or older, it would be weird, but they're the perfect age. They all look like they're from the same time. They're speaking in a way that is believable. Yeah. And the story looks like you would remember it in a sexy dream. Like it's this like cosmic perfection.
Like when the opening credits come on and there's like what is it? Is it Paramount Pictures, whoever at Columbia or something with the statue, and you get the guitar lick like you're like, is this going to be like a college movie? right? And you're like
It
watching
kind
it.
of is a college movie.
It is, but right, but like you watch the opening scene and you're like, okay, this is different. And then that fucking piano kicks in a little later, and you're like, the whole tone changes, and it's like, okay, it sets a different road that this movie is gonna go down.
Again, the score, which we're gonna do
Yeah.
our own segment
We
on
are.
later. It's another perfect piece of this concoction.
It is, and I was thinking about that.
This
Yeah.
angular dark thing played into delicate undertones. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's cosmic. Yeah, it's there.
Should we do a little cast analysis, a little Shibuya roll call?
I think we should do a little one. Yeah, yeah.
So let's start with our principal lead, Mr. Jesse Eisenberg. It's almost as if I couldn't picture anyone else doing it. Like I just said, it's the best thing I've ever seen him do. It's obviously his flagship performance, but the snarkiness and edginess that he delivers his put downs with, it's perfect. He also kind of looks like him, obviously, which doesn't hurt. What are your thoughts?
I think that Jesse Eisenberg absolutely owns this fucking character. Like he owns this fucking character. He plays it right. And I think it's that I hate to keep using the word, but I use that word cosmic because there's like this serendipity to it. Like the way this all works out. Like you get Jesse Eisenberg, who is basically typecast to be
For the rest of his life.
Yeah. To be this. And this is his best kind of lane, if you will. And you get this movie comes along at the right age for him to take this role, and he fucking knocks it out of the park, man. I mean, it's, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of my analysis for this is more about the way he gives the character life, and the character, I think, because really, I think what we should do is we should do Jesse Eisenberg and Mark Zuckerberg, right? Like, shouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Because to me, I keep thinking like, the first thing I always think about is the sandals in the snow, right? And it's like, like you've met people who are just like so caught up that they ran outside with sandals in the snow, but they do a good job of pointing out that he's always wearing sandals. And he's always wearing them in the snow. And it's like, that's a motherfucker who wants someone to think that they're so caught up that they ran out of the fucking house with sandals on all the fucking... Dude, it's snow on the ground, bro. And it's like, you're trying too hard.
He doesn't only do that with snow, but when he gets caught up in the phantasm that is Sean... What's his last name?
Parker Barry.
Sean Parker.
Sean Parker.
And Sean Parker kind of corrals him into getting a little slap back at corporate America, and he sends his new boy toy, Mark Zuckerberg, into the meeting with sandals and a robe on to make it seem like he's barely trying, and that he's doing this. He's toppling corporate America from his couch in a fucking robe with his hand in his pants, which isn't true. That's just not. This dude's worked fucking 24 hours a day to do what they did.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, yes, that's the flesh of it, right? So if we're gonna give a quick little analysis, and I got one point about Eisenberg that I'll get back to, but to finish on Zuckerberg from my point, like, just because you're brilliant doesn't mean you get to be an asshole, and you are an asshole. And I think, Rashida Jones. I think yes, I think Rashida Jones' character is wrong about him being an asshole. I don't think. It's easy to look back now, but I'm being completely fucking honest when I say that when I was 19 or 20 years old, I really don't think that even if I had the ability to rank the hotness of the women that I went to school with, I wouldn't have done that because I would have known that it was inappropriate. I may, like, at that age, I may have very well fucking talked with my friends about girls that we went to school with being fucking hot or not.
There would have been a threshold of like, I don't think I would have been intelligent enough to be like, this isn't right. But I would have been like, I'm just not doing this.
Say something, exactly.
Something would have stopped me. Yeah.
But for an asshole, it doesn't matter. And I think that really what it truly is that he's trying hard for people. He's trying hard to make people think that he doesn't care, that he knows that they think he's an asshole. That's what he wants. He wants them to think he doesn't care that he's an asshole, but he does. That's what he's trying to do.
I think that Eisenberg's performance personifies that paradox. And
It
I think
does.
it's so special. I can't believe he wasn't. Was he nominated?
I think he did get a nom, but maybe not. Maybe not.
He should have been. Let me look it up on the IMDb.
Yeah,
Give
I
me-
mean, but
Give me some more spin before we move on to our next.
I'll give you
person.
some fucking spit. What I'm gonna say is, I said that Eisenberg owns this character, and all that said about how I really don't like Mark Zuckerberg, and parts of me just like detest everything about this whole thing. This fucking guy knows how to own somebody in this fucking movie, right? And we're gonna get to that a little later, but like, you just got. I mean, he knows how to do it. He knows how to
Especially put through the mouthpiece of Aaron Sorkin. It's a great fucking watch.
I know. That's another good like cosmic pairing. Sorkin and fucking Eisenberg. Like just
And Sorkin, Eisenberg, but also the sexy memory of Zuckerberg depositions.
yeah, through
Like,
Zuckerberg. Yeah, absolutely.
it's
This is
perfect.
Dude, we are creating a fucking Frankenstein of awesome.
He was nominated for an Academy Award for the role, as he should have been. It was
Who beat him? Who beat him that year? Come on. If you just look it up, it's right on the tips of your finger. Who beat him?
it would be Academy Award.
Anyway, those damn sandals in the snow. I can't get over that, man. That's fucking. I mean, I do like the choice of sandals, but I just don't like. I can't do it.
I just looked it up and it said Clark Gable.
Clark Gable won. All right, that was a deserving. Okay, let's move along. Woo!
Okay, cool.
Calling it quits.
Garfield loves lasagna.
Dude. Okay.
I just like Andrew Garfield.
Me too. Cool fact. I'm kind of an ignorant person sometimes, and I had no clue that he was British until I watched some special features. No clue.
He's British, but I'm pretty sure he was like raised in LA.
Well, he's got a thick one, boy. I'll tell you that.
His character, Andrew Garfield's character in this film is probably the most dynamic. This dude goes through some shit.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Saying it right now, I'm bringing it back. Andrew Garfield, Face Acting Award of this
bring it on.
episode. Yes,
Okay.
he gets the Face Acting Award. There are some notables, though.
Okay.
My favorite notable is whoever the chick is who's playing Shannon, who comes to the door with Sean Parker. And he's like, "This is my Shannon." And the eye roll she gives him, I'm like, "Go get him, girl."
Just so we could like move on with our lives and you're not too pissed off. Colin Firth beat out Jesse Eisenberg. The fucking King.
King's Speech. Okay, that was
What
a
is it?
pretty fucking epic performance. Just saying.
Not a big fan. We'll get to that in another episode.
Jeffrey Rush was better than him in that movie, though.
I think that Eduardo Saverin's character. So we kind of see the Tinklevoss twins as adversaries and just like annoyances, like gnats in this story. Like, get the fuck out of here! Like, you guys don't deserve a seat at the table. But Eduardo is a little naive. He gets what he gets because he deserves it. He's the business manager and he makes a business mistake. Like, he kind of fucks up, but his best friend also definitely takes advantage of him. And I think Andrew Garfield's portrayal of that betrayal is it's great. I really like him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I give the Face Acting Award, because he really like shit his face and throughout the film, really he carries the emotion in this movie. I mean, because you don't get much off of Zuckerberg. You don't get much. All you get off of, the only kind of emotion you get off Parker is like the emotion of a con man, or toward the end of the film when he's like coked the fuck out. You know, Eduardo really is the person who's carrying the emotion in this film. He's the good friend. He's the, Mark doesn't tell him about the cease and desist order. And he sits down and he tells him, like, listen, like, you can come to me, like, we're in this together. I'm here to help you. And it like Garfield does such a good job of making that sound like sincere and like tender. Like he's being legitimate. Like we're friends. We're on the cusp of this really potentially big idea that we're starting to understand how big it is, and you can come to me. We can make this work no matter what, you know? And I think I guess you really come away looking at you know, at Eduardo as the principled, you know, character, I guess. The one that you come away relating to.
I think his arc is the one that you identify with the most.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But he still gets paid.
He's also, I would say, arguably the most handsome upgrade from Hollywood's version. And also, I mean, is it possible that Eisenberg is a slight downgrade from Zuckerberg? I mean, is that possible?
That dude looks like a lizard king. There's no way.
I guess you're right.
What's in the special features? That's what Sorkin says. He says, "Man, this is a handsome cast."
I know, right? It is. It's a very, to steal a line from you, it's a Hollywood picture.
It's a Hollywood motion picture.
There we go.
Sometimes when you make a Hollywood motion picture, you need a Hollywood music star to make the show pop. And for this program, we got JT.
Oh, dude, okay.
Oh, can I start?
Yes, you can start.
I love Justin Timberlake just as much as the next Red Bullet American. Have you seen Just in Time? Have you seen Friends with Benefits? He's fine. Unfortunately, I feel like Justin Timberlake's performance in this film is like the black spot, if there was one. I think it's bad.
I disagree. I was actually going to say that I thought it was genius to cast him to play this guy.
Let's talk about how it was. Yeah.
Because at the time that Sean Barry, or Sean, see,
why do you keep doing that?
Dude, hey, listen, Sean Barry, for whatever reason, if you're out there, I don't even know if we ever really fucking met, but I heard your name through the grapevine. I'm sure you're a nice guy, but I don't know why you're not in this movie. But anyway, Sean Parker. Okay. At that time, to some like computer coding kids that would have been in high school in like 1999, he would have been like the shit, and he would have had all the sway. He was rich. Everybody fucking knew him. He was like a little, you know, tech celebrity. You know what I mean? And I think it was genius to cast Justin Timberlake in this role, because who better than an ex pop star that like girls swoon over, and like it's so believable to have him come in 20 minutes late to a meeting and know the waitress's name. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy. He feels like that fucking guy.
And the irony of the fact that the guy portraying the guy that had the huge influence on the music industry did, like, for the love of God, can we just set this straight? He didn't take down the music industry.
Thank you.
He changed it, but being portrayed by like top 3 biggest pop stars on the planet at the time, who was in a boy band in the late 90s, who was directly influenced by the actions of the person he's portraying, is fucking smart. It has to be deliberate, right?
Oh, it had to have been their first choice, right? Like,
yeah,
at least say that,
Justin
right?
Fucking Timberlake.
Yeah, fucking Justin. He had already done that one movie. What is it? Shit.
Just in Time.
No.
Friends with Benefits?
No, the series. Oh, Alpha Dog, right? Didn't he do that?
Oh,
Shit, that was before
like
that,
Street
right?
Gang, white trash movie.
I don't even think I watched it.
Listen, we already fumbled through the 2011 Oscars. Let's not like fumble through Alpha Dog.
Yeah, but
moving on. Sorry, we have to go there. I know it's a little bit topical, but Army Hammer in the special features destroys a double rare cheeseburger.
Very rare cheeseburger. Maybe we just noticed in light of recent events.
Dude, I was dying.
A new meaning to I like 'em bloody.
He just kept saying, he was like, it was so juicy.
So juicy.
Army Hammer is annoying as fuck and a rich prick in the movie, and I'm pretty sure he's that in real life. So that's kind of where on Army Hammer.
I mean, the only thing I'll say about again, it's just good casting. I mean, they're
It is.
as like affluent Harvard guys.
I'm 6'5" and 220, and there's two of me.
I know, but because we're gentlemen of Harvard, like, get out of here.
Both of those quotes are very believable.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, shout out to Josh Pence, right? The guy who literally
man.
that like those dudes had to act everything that everybody else did twice, and
What's it?
they
Can we
had to
explain that for the listeners?
Yes, take it
So-
away, bro.
So casting wasn't sure if they wanted to have fraternal twins or identical twins, so they casted two guys for screen testing, and they were both beautiful, 6'5", over 200-pound specimens, Adonises, and they decided it would be more effective to have identical twins. But they needed a stand-in to do this futuristic new age face mapping throughout the film. They chose Armie Hammer. Unfortunately, the other actor, what's his name?
Josh Pence.
Josh Pence, filmed every scene that there are two Tinklevoss twins in so that they could perform the face mapping on the character. He does get a cameo after Eduardo and Mark get their little play in the bathroom at the club. He steps in, tries to go to the bathroom, and like there are some girls getting ready in there, and he's like, sweet. He does get some FaceTime, but the poor guy auditioned for this big Fincher Sorkin film, gets cast, and then just has to like not be seen in the entire movie.
Yeah, it does suck, and you could all. I mean, let's get real. It was pretty fucking clear in the special features. He was a little bitter about it. It was pretty fucking clear.
It's kind of awkward, yeah.
Also, I will say my one dark spot, as you would say, with Timberlake's performance is I wish they would have just not made them identical twins. I really do. It would. I just think that was the one weak spot of the movie for me, because there are a couple of times where it's just so fucking obvious and it bothers me just a little bit. And it's like, it just would have been better.
It bothered me rewatching it now, and after watching the special features and them kind of detailing the technological journey of doing that, I don't know if I would have noticed it as much, but it definitely, I see your point of view for sure.
Yeah.
Let's throw it up to the ladies.
Yes, let's do.
Rooney Mara has a very small timestamp on this film, but she's fantastic. Like the first scene of the film might be one of the 3 or 4 most important scenes of the entire film, and she's so good. She's so fucking good. She plays with that Sorkin screenplay, and Eisenberg obviously thrives in that kind of environment, and she holds her own. And later in the film, when Zuckerberg is kind of on his arc and has a chance to have redemption against ex-girlfriend, and he sees her out at the restaurant. I don't know. She was the perfect actress for that role. I
agree. I mean, obviously it's set off a career with Fincher for her, but I think main thing I think about when I think about her performance is, besides the fact that her character does get treated like shit, which is one of the main pieces of proof that Mark Zuckerberg's character was actually indeed an asshole. She's also the only character in the film that fucking owns him. I mean, it's usually other people on the other end of that. I mean, you could make a case that Eduardo, kind of gets him at the end by slamming his computer. But again, that's not really like, she's the only person in this film that gets a dagger in that motherfucker. And he stays, like, at least in the story, the fictionalized version, like, they do a great job of like using that device because, I mean, shit, at the end of the film closes with him having sent her a friend request and sitting there literally and hitting refresh. It's like refresh.
It's like the most realistic part of the movie.
Agreed. I mean,
literally, I'm sorry, you've been in a committed relationship for like 10 years.
Sure, I feel you.
But we've literally every single fucking human being listening to this podcast has done that. Or at least with one stroke. Friend request is next. And the fact that the man who invented the fucking thing is doing it, I think it's great writing.
It is. It absolutely is, because again, like what I'm telling you, this film is so relevant to the Facebook story because what we were talking about, like, okay, there are films that are relevant, that stay relevant after their time, and there are films that don't. This is a film that does. But this one has something that most films don't compete with, and it's that their subject matter changed in dynamics so much from the time that the fucking film came out. Now Facebook is a completely goddamn different thing. Like you can see,
Is Facebook irrelevant?
I mean, Zuckerberg stays like he like gets made out almost like a kind of a glorified at fighting the like advertising on his platform. Like, no, I don't want that shit on there. That's not cool.
Look at it now.
Look at it fucking now. It's nothing but a fucking shopping store, you know?
Yeah.
But I think
store.
I mean shopping center, sorry, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I just think I don't know. I think the vanity, that's why it stays relevant, is because it centers on the vanity and the loneliness. That's what Facebook is. Facebook is he created it to prey on your psyche, and social media that's what it all is. It preys on your psyche. It's you hit that refresh, you get the little notification, and you get the endorphins in your brain, and you feel this a little bit better, but you don't really feel a little bit better. But you do. That's social media. And he's susceptible too. And I do think that that's beautiful fucking writing. Like, absolutely.
It's a lonely tool forged from the brain of a lonely man.
Yeah, for sure.
The other example of kind of the creators of this thing who are of the time of their device being affected by those things is when Eduardo's girlfriend comes in and is grilling him on his relationship status. It's like, dude, you invented the website, and like we've all been there. Like that conversation is real.
Yes, it is real. It is absolutely real, and I am absolutely that guy right there. Like, I don't know how to change it.
I literally don't know how to change it. Your name's on the masthead. I don't know how to change it.
Oh God, that's funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
I think the last big part, serious overreaching faction of a discussion about this film is something that inspires me and excites me, and I think is violently unique, and that's the score.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give my little bit, and I'll let you go on because I do think that. I mean, basically, I just think it's amazing when it as a person who loves film and movies of just all kind, it's so goddamn amazing when an original score comes up with such a good film and they pair together and you get that piece, because it makes all the difference in the world. And again, I already mentioned it. We picked our season opener when we started this podcast, we picked There Will Be Blood. And there's no doubt one of the main reasons we love that fucking film so much is because it's one of the best scores. And quite frankly, I would say, I got 2 years earlier than this one. That Johnny Greenwood score and this, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross score, these are two of the best scores in my lifetime. Like, I would have no doubt putting them up there. I mean, this is a fucking fantastic score. It's got this, it feels like electronic, but not like in a cheesy way, so it ties into this like idea of they're these new cutting edge business people, this new generation coming on, right? It feels that way, but then there's this other thing that it does for me, and I want to hear your thoughts. But it acts as like this, like it's like the it's the idea of Facebook, like the abstract little floating idea that is Facebook. I mean, Facebook is a name, but this idea of the social network, this thing that you log on to and you like do the self-celebration, and you like post the menu, like when it became things like burritos, Like eating a burrito at Fat City. See you on Tuesdays. What's up? I love sour cream. Hashtag. It represents this, like, I mean, lastly, I'll just say, like, example is when when he posts that face mash, the second half of that sequence, when he launches it, and Wardo says to him, like, are you sure that we should be doing this? Doesn't this feel like a little, I don't know? And he just kind of gives him that look, and he, like, the site's live, and then that sound kicks in. It fucking feels sinister because what's happening is wrong, and you can see it's like this idea that's like formulating in his head as he moves along. And I don't know, I just love this score.
I think you brought up some great points. I think what the score does for me is it's kind of this I feel like it's a picture of not necessarily Zuckerberg's brain, but it's kind of the soundtrack to the process of understanding the breadth of what social media is. And I think I'm just going to kind of echo what you say, but maybe say it in a different way, is there's this like delusion of innocence and this perversion of innocence, this it's being taken advantage of, and it's represented in these delicacies and these piano parts and these softness and these kind of turns of melody in the score. But the overreaching majority of the score is angular and metallic, and it is calculated, and like you said, it invokes sort of evil. And I think it's serendipity that this score like this is paired with writing like this and direction like this and performing like this. I think we talked about how this film is a special moment, and you can't overstate the impact of the score. This film is, I'm sure if you calculated the seconds in this film where there weren't words being spoken, it would be less than a couple minutes. It's
quite possibly. Seriously, quite possibly.
It might be less than 2 minutes. But that being said, the score never ceases to be present either. And the fact that I think the score represents an evolution of an idea, and I think the score represents that this is a fucking hyper intelligent environment. Not only Zuckerberg being a hyper intelligent person, but the kind of players that are involved. And I think the score represents this never ending thought, this never ending ambition. And like we've both referenced in our analysis of it, that never ending ambition is both angular and a toe dipped in the darkness and manipulation and ambition and success. But it's also, what are you manipulating and what are you looking to capitalize on? You're looking to manipulate and capitalize innocence and innate human desire. And I think this score makes me feel, it inspires me, because I think it achieves those things, and it's I think it's astonishing. And the little special features, the mini doc on it, is one of my favorite things I've watched in the past 6 months. And I sound really serious and sincere in that, and it's because I am. That shit moved me.
Yeah, it is fucking dope. I mean, and a couple little things. Two things I love about the score, aside from what we just were talking about, is like that primal feeling it has. Like it does. It feels like it's almost like some of the sounds you hear in this film like sound like what you would want it to sound like when your soul leaves your body. You know, like when you die. Like
you just finished the last episode of Dharma and Greg, and the chips are gone. We're bringing it all back home.
Dom and Greg. Okay, last thing about the I love the use of the in the Hall of the Mountain King, man. Like that shit vibes me so hard with that boat race. It's so good. So, and the film editors, like chef's kiss to you for like a beautiful job of like timing that. Like it's so fucking good. So good. So that's my thing about the score, I'll say.
I think we've given an ode to the score. I'm serious about my adoration for it. It's one of my favorite pieces of music, I think, ever. It really
dope.
means a lot to me.
I mean, I've listened to it a couple of times myself, like just the score. It's really good.
Yeah. Let's bring it back up a few notches of lightness. Let's do our list for this episode.
Ooh, we get into some listings.
Okay. So this episode is about power. This film is about owning people. It's about
Oh,
one
oh.
up. It's about speaking in a sexy, fast-paced tone. It's about being remembered as someone who's in control. So we thought there'd be no better way for this week's episode to be a list of our top favorite burns of the social network.
Your attention.
I think if your clients want to sit on my shoulders and call themselves tall, they have a right to give it a try, but there's no requirement that I enjoy sitting here listening to people lie. You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing.
Joshua, kick it off, my brother.
Burns. My number 3 favorite burn is a subtle burn, and it's a burn that I would do if I were trying to burn someone, no doubt. And they're in the deposition, and Eduardo's lawyer is going through the money he invested, and she said, so $1,000 the initial investment plus another $18,000. So if my math is correct, that's $19,000. Cut, sharp cut, Zuckerberg, pen to paper. Hold on, let me check your math. Scribble, 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 scribble. Yes, that's correct. I fucking love that shit, dude. That's something I would do if I was pissed off at someone and I'd be like, let me double check your math. Yes, actually, it is 32. I would be that.
Only in dreams.
Ooh.
I happen to know what your picks are, and you picked the best ones. So
Oh, come on. Sorry, man.
I love for my
Give me your
third
Dale
one.
Earnhart.
I guess 3 for Dale.
Give me your Dale Earnhardt.
The third I'll pick is if when they first launched Face Mash and it crashes the Harvard EDU net, and Zuckerberg is called into like a hearing, which is like small potatoes compared to what it ends up to. But there's kind of like this that's a recurring theme. He's always in a room getting in trouble and talking his way out of it. And he says to the guy who's woken up in the middle of the night, and it's like, I'm the head of security at Harvard, and I can assure you of the sophistication of our programs. And Zuckerberg says, yeah, if you would have known what you were looking for, you would have seen it written on my dorm room window.
I know. It literally.
It literally. The algorithm on the window. So I'll take that as number 3.
That's a good one. That's a fucking good. I mean, this character has like a fucking crazy inherent ability to punk someone down and to like own them. But my number 2 is actually Eduardo. And it might be my juiciest, favoriteest fucking moment of the whole movie. Because I got to tell you guys, I fucking hate Sean Parker's character in this fucking film. He is like the antithesis of everything that I would want to be. He's like everything that I'd like loathe, that like con man fucking wanna be bullshit. I can't stand it. Anyway, the end of the movie, Eduardo and Mark have just had their big fucking dramatic moment, and fucking Parker's there, and he's trying to be all like Mr. Cool and like own the situation and act like he orchestrated everything.
So much.
And as Eduardo's walking away, finally, he's like, oh, wait, 1 second. And here's the part that kills me. He's like looking back at Mark, like, pay attention to this. Watch what happens, right? And he pulls the check out, and he's like, oh, here's the $19,000, but I wouldn't cash the check because I drew it from the account that you froze. And fucking Eduardo just draws back and like and punks him so bad, dude. Drops back, like cringes like a little boy, and like, it's so like freaked out. It's great. And they, what does Eduardo say? Oh, I love standing next to you because I look so tough. Like he's such a bitch. And then juicier, a couple minutes later, he gets popped up by the fucking cops, and he like,
God,
pull out your pockets, and he's got a fucking EpiPen and an inhaler. It's like, dude, you're not tough. You're not fucking tough. Please stop trying to act that way. Sorry. Number 2 for you.
Well, real quick, I want to touch on.
Oh, yes, please. Sorry.
After that scene when Mark kind of sees Sean for what he is, because he calls him, and Sean's coked up and paranoid, and everyone's been warning Mark that he's a paranoid dude, not just because of the coke, but I think inherently. And you see that on Mark's face where he's like, oh, fuck, Eduardo was right. Everyone was right.
Yep.
Like, this guy helped me get here. There's no doubt, but like, fuck this guy. Anyway, number 2 for what thought?
Yeah, it's just a thought because, like, I'm just sitting here. Look, I'm doing this podcast with one of my best friends, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, there's so much debate about this movie. Is like, is this guy an asshole? Does it make him out to be? It's like, I'm sorry. It's just so fucked up that you were friends with that guy, that you would call him your best friend at the time. And you're going to fuck him over the way he fucked him over with those contracts and the way he stole his shares. That is so, like, I
Yeah, it's not
understand
okay.
I understand that Eduardo shouldn't have signed the contracts, but I'm sorry, I just couldn't hold it in anymore. I'm like looking at you and I'm like, there's no way I could do that to a friend of mine. Like, there's no fucking way.
No way.
No way. Sorry.
Number two for me. That one's kind of weak. Okay, I'll do so the Tinklevoss twins are kind of hanging over their privilege in the deposition, and Mark has this great zing back, and he says, "I do." He is what he essentially says is, "I don't give a fuck about your privilege in the Phoenix Club," and the quote is, "I right now I could buy the Phoenix Club right now and turn it into my own personal ping pong room. I don't give a fuck about your claim on intellectual property. Like I'm gonna write. I know I'm writing you a check." A lawsuit out of court. Like I know that's happening. I don't give a fuck about you, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yep.
a billionaire. I
Like-
could turn your small little club that makes you feel privileged and like you're great in the world. I could buy it and turn it into my own personal ping pong room. Fuck off.
And
That's number 2 for me.
Yeah, it's a great one, and it's a good. I mean, really, because it really, and again, this goes back to that Aaron Sorkin writing, because and the consultation with Fincher and all the actors that they did, because it packs so much into every little thing. Because he says that, and it's like you start thinking about that, and you're like, oh shit, like, because to me, kids that are in one of those final clubs at Harvard, like that's like those are like the upper class, like people I would never in a million years want to be like or dream to be like, right? And this dude is worth so much money that he could buy their clubhouse that all of their collective members contribute to. And he could do it.
And he just waited. He's not paying attention at all.
No.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Well, you could say that that's a good segue into my number one.
And it is.
When he is asked by the Winklevi lawyer if he has Mr. Zuckerberg's attention, and he tells him no, and he tells him, no, you don't. My attention's back at Facebook, and where we're doing things that you can't do. And it's fucking.
No, you don't have my attention. Fuck
No.
you. My attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where we're changing the fucking world.
Yes.
My number one's kind of a piggyback on the moment. I think we just hate the Tinklevoss twins, and we're just ganging up on them, because my number one is, quote, "If you could have invented Facebook, you would have invented Facebook," and that's an attack on their claim of, again, intellectual property and their smarmy fucking shithead third party dude who's in their thing. Like, you guys are pissed you didn't get your way. In reality, you failed as businessmen. You fucked up. You were had by some dude sitting in your lobby. If you could have invented Facebook, you would have, and you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I did. Here's like a pension. Fuck off.
Yep. That's it. I mean, it really is. That's when you're like, that basically culminates everything. Like the one from me, my number one is like a little, it's also a little condescending of him, you know? Your number one is really like summarizes that whole thing with the Winklevi. Like, seriously, if you could have, you would have. Like, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
It really is that simple.
And what did they get? They got money. They got money, and that's all they ever care about.
Yeah, they got a lot of
and
it.
It's like, yeah, more than I could ever dream of.
Yeah, which I don't know. That's one of the things about this movie. I was like thinking about it. Like, this is like the phrase "lifestyles" and of the rich and the shameless kept popping into my head. Like, these people,
lifestyles of the rich and the famous.
Yeah, dude. Like,
It's
come
Charlotte.
on. It's so. it just kills me. It's like these guys.
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Oh Lord. I don't know. If Harvard is in the Ivy League, wait, hold on. If this is Harvard and Harvard is in the Ivy League and the Ivy League is where the people who do most of the shit in our government come from, I don't fucking like them. I think they're douchebags. Like most of them.
I don't disagree. I think that's a nice segue, and I think we're gonna let the dog off the leash here.
It's barking.
Before we get to a mailbag segment. What's the last song in this film? How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? Obviously, it ends with the Beatles song "Baby You're a Rich Man" off Magical Mystery Tour, but it's perfect. It's kind of this like nonchalant, cartoonish. We know what happens at the end of this. You're gonna be fine, and you're fucking loaded.
Yeah.
And that's a moment I love. The other moment I love is the Sorkin cameo when Eduardo and Mark are doing meetings around New York trying to get ad investors for their website, and guess who's the one meeting we get to see a glimpse into? It's our writer Aaron Sorkin.
Mr.
And,
Sorkin.
and Mark Zuckerberg is falling asleep and making some weird fucking clicking noise, and Aaron Sorkin's his only line is, "What is that? What's that noise he's making?" It's great. His fucking South Beach tan and his tweed suit. Love it.
Couple things I love. So Harvard really sandbagged production of this film. They did not want them to film there. And one of the main clips they got from Harvard is the opening shot where he's like going past these arches, and in order to get the lighting on the arches, they snuck a mime in there with like a battery operated light rig, and like Fincher hired him to like go in there, and they were talking about how it was fun that they were working on this big ass production, but they were still like doing shit that they would have done in like film school. That's one of my favorite parts to hear about that. But another little shout out, Larry Summers, former Secretary of the Treasury, that has like a little acting. He's not in it, but his character, right? Yeah. And
is he the
punch
dean
me
of
in the
Harvard?
face. Yes.
Dude, I had that written down as one of my favorite quotes.
It's a good one.
So good. I guess I wanted to also touch on what I have written down is fake cold breath, fake face mapping, fake snow, Henley on the Thames scene. Like the technology stuff, like watching it now in my home, in my living room, it's like there's some like digital altering going on here that when I was 18, 19 years old, when I watched it, I just took it at face value and it was this sexy David Fincher dream movie. And when they relocate out of Boston back to California, and you watch the special features and you understand that the snow's fake, and you see that like the breath is artificial. I don't know. I just wanted to touch on it, and I think I don't know. That's all.
Yeah, it's one of the risks you run when you make films with cutting edge technology. You don't know how that technology will age. It's just one of the risks that you run. I mean, that's why, okay.
Look at Star Wars. Does that look like modern? Do we love watching it? No. Yes. Like it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, and you could even make an arguable case. I mean, a case for Star Wars. I mean, pre-computer generated. It really is what I mean. I mean, I would like look at 2001. There's no computer graphics in that, but when you watch it like today in your living room on the big TV with the good sound, like you're still looking at that like that. I don't know what fucking space looks like, but that's pretty fucking close. I mean, yeah. So I think there's something to be said about that. But once you get into computer generated shit, it's like you take a risk. Like, what does a Jurassic Park movie look like nowadays? What's the new Jurassic Park movie going to look like in 7 years from now? So you always running that risk.
I haven't seen the new ones. Not going to see the new ones.
Sure.
I don't care.
I just think, well, and I mean, I'm just using those as an example, but like what he does do right is he uses it very seldomly and just
It just
subtle,
works.
you know?
Even if it ages and it kind of sticks out as it ages, it'll be a part of the overall aesthetic of the experience of the film.
Sure.
It'll be a 2010 film, and it will make sense to be on a Boston campus, and there's a breath of fresh air. It'll make sense.
Yeah, it will. It absolutely will. It will. And I think this movie's definitely gonna fucking age. Like
Oh God, yeah.
it's gonna do fine. I mean, I think it'll be around. It'll be good. Yeah, I don't know. I think one more thing that I want to shout out is I find it's like I have this like love-hate relationship with this Zuckerberg character because I love how like smart assness he can be. Like he's just, I don't know, it's so sharp, and I love when they're at the like fucking shitty fraternity party and he's like, I can't look at this endless loop of Niagara Falls. It has nothing to do
with Caribbean.
nothing to do with the Caribbean. And it's like he's just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I can't take it. And it's like, I appreciate that. That was some cheesy shit. Oh.
What do you got some final thoughts on the film?
No, I mean, it's just a movie of its time, and it really is damn near flawless. Like there are some things like we've pointed
It
out.
might be perfect, yeah.
But it's fucking good, and it's, again, I just love you. You cannot say enough when a movie is 2 hours long, but it feels shorter. Like it just, and this movie, it blows my mind every time. I'm like, this fucking, it was 2 hours ago when I fucking started this, because there's no like chunks in the film. It just blends and fucking moves, you know?
I don't think from 2010 to 2020 there might be a better film, but I don't think there's a more important or contextually poignant film than this one. And
We'll
I can
see.
say that definitively.
Yeah, I've still got a couple to watch, but I'm gonna get on it. But this one's fucking there, man. I'm not even joking. Like this movie is legit. But anyway, you want to do a couple of questiones?
Okay, we're gonna reinvigorate a segment we started on season 1. It's gonna be a tradition from now on. Josh, this is your thing, my brother. Let's answer some questions. Let's open up the Digest Show mailbag.
Yeah, this one comes from a listener on Instagram. Shout out, you'll know the question if it's yours. Why make a personal issue between Mark and Eduardo when there wasn't one in real life?
Can I
That's
answer
the
this one?
question. Yeah, go ahead. Take it away.
Because it's a movie, and personal conflict is the crux of every great story.
That is correct.
And
that is
whether
the
or not
baseline
that happened or not, which that's cool that you know that. I don't know who you are or that you have that inside scoop, but like we're watching a movie, and is everything factually correct? No, and I accept that. And that's not why I'm watching a film. When I want factually correct information in its entirety, I go and watch a documentary or I read a book.
Ooh, somebody's getting a little salty.
I just don't like questions like that. Like, you know what you're getting. Like sorry.
Yes, I understand. However, the movie is based on a nonfiction work, so there is that. And I would say,
Cool. So we just wrap that up.
I mean, what I was gonna say is, look, you're right. At the end of the day, it's a movie, but I think my comment would be, from looking at what I could see, the people who dispute the accuracy of this movie, most of them just say that Zuckerberg didn't party as much as he's shown to. And I don't really think that the film does that. I think the film shows him as like a exceptionally focused individual from the moment that he conceives of the idea of the Facebook.
Guess what? If the dialogue in the depositions wasn't exactly correct and Mark Zuckerberg was slightly less smart and funny and cutting, the movie wouldn't be as good.
Yeah,
So
and if Eduardo didn't slam the laptop, if Eduardo didn't slam the laptop, we don't have an end to the movie. Okay, so, but anyway, we do appreciate your question. Thank you. Even though we, may have thrown you under the bus there a little bit. So we appreciate it. Next question. Hey, look, what does it say? Welcome to the NFL, right? That's the quote from the movie. All right. Next question. Another Instagram submission. All of these are Instagram submissions. Funny.
Owned by.
This one is I don't look, sorry, I didn't prepare. I still do things on paper and I did not prepare. So if they're listening, they'll know their question. Did you know the story of Facebook before you saw the movie? For me, that's a hard no. I did not know this origin story.
No. Like the first time I watched it in 2010.
Yeah, before you watched the movie, did you know the origin story? I mean, it was pretty public.
I'm sure I didn't.
I mean, there was stuff in the
I was
news
19
about.
years old. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me either. We did not. It was a revelation. That's the answer, and a good one. Okay, now the last question is a general question. It's not
just about movies in general.
Yeah, it's just for the podcast as a whole. This from a listener from the season prior. It says that Martin Scorsese says that Marvel films are not cinema, and they would like to know our opinion on that.
Who wants to go first?
I'll say, I think, first off, look, there are films and there are movies. You can say that. But at the end of the day, like, all films are movies. Maybe all movies aren't films, whatever you want to call it. Really what there is there's good and there's bad. And I think when you make a film, if you know what the intention of what you're doing and if you take yourself the right amount of serious, you're probably going to put out something that's good. And if you go into watching Die Hard and you think you're watching like some magnificent work of art, then you're mistaken. But if you go into Die Hard and you think, I want to watch like a cool fucking action film and I want to have fun right now and get out of the real world for a little bit, you're probably going to have a good fucking time. And I think that's what the beauty of movies is. And it's this medium. So for me, fuck yeah, like bring Marvel on. I've enjoyed those fucking movies. I'm not a comic book like I'm not a big fan or anything. I don't know all the ins and outs of the stories, but the ones I've watched, I'm fucking there for it. I've watched all the Avenger ones. That shit is like, it's like a fucking epic soap opera. Like fucking this good storyline. Like that fucking, let's save some humanity. Like let's fucking do that shit. Like I'm for it. I mean, so I don't know. You know, I think it's all through what you see. That's all I want to say. But I am there for him.
I think that Martin Scorsese is the most important filmmaker of the last 40 years.
Yeah.
But I think he's wrong.
Oh!
I'm not into semantics of film, cinema, motion, fucking pictures. Like I'm not a huge fan of the Marvel films, but I would say that I love them. Like I like them. I have so much. I went to go see Endgame in the theater, and I got emotional on the last scene, and it inspired me and made me want to like. Fuck yeah, Marvel! Like Winter Soldier fucking rules. Civil War is an awesome movie.
Yeah,
like
dude, for sure.
Yes, I love Marvel, and I'm Josh and I think are on the same level with those movies. Like I take them at face value. But also, like Age of Ultron,
they're fucking great. But they're great movies. Like
they're so fun.
Like you also have to but you cannot. The thing is, I don't want to I guess I didn't really articulate this part. Is like those are movie making feats.
Oh my god!
So like you have to give credit to that too. Like it's a different kind of like
it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
And the way that like the Russo brothers. Like just to compare to the other comic book franchise, look how shitty and poorly received the DC movies are. Like those movies suck, and look how good the Marvel the
DC universe movies are pretty. And like, I don't even think I've seen any of them actually.
Just to compare, like that's impressive. I'm pro Marvel, not like I'm not fucking. I'm going to say that on the gesture I was making on recorded microphone, but I'm not like a fanboy, but fuck yeah. Have a great time.
Yeah, I'm there.
dude, season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, I think we just took on a film. I think a big one, like
A big film.
like you said. Wait, that might be bleeding into what we got coming next for you. Sorry. Anyway, I think this is a season opener for sure. We both love this movie. It's easy for us to like really get into it. We love David Fincher. It's got some great performances, great writing, great score, just lush. And it's been a pleasure to be doing this with you again, dude. I'm excited to get into this shit. We got a good season coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited for further conversations. I'm excited about our mailbag. I hope you all enjoyed that. And I don't think we could have picked a better film to start season 2 off with. My friend, raise a glass with me.
Right here.
To the birds.
Hallelujah. And I'm going to go talk to the Tinklewalls twins.
Students are required to respect public and private ownership, and instances of theft, misappropriation,
And
Yes, sir.
punch me in the face. Go ahead.